Hello guys, Oscar Hotel 8 Sierra Tango November here from Survival Tech Nord. Today we're going to be talking about ultra-portable digital communications. Now I've already done a blog post on it. I'll put a link to that blog post in the description so you can check it out. But basically what we're going to be doing is making a video version of that blog post to show you 3 different examples of how you could put together your own ultra-portable digital communications kit. We're going to have 3 different examples. The first is a laptop-based example with the FT817. The second is a tablet-based example with the FT817. And the third is a smartphone-based example with the FT817. So, stick with me and let's get started.
You are listening to the Emergency Broadcast Systems. This station broadcasts emergency news and official information on the air for assigned narrative.
Now, regardless of what type of system you're putting together, there are some common components that every system has. I think that'll be a good place to start. All right, let's go. Naturally, every system starts off with a radio. In this case, that's the FT817, but it also could be another radio like the UKIT's TJ2B. And in all honesty, as long as the radio fits your own portable requirements, it can be anything you like. Next up, we have the audio interface. Now, there are many different types of audio interfaces on the market, but I'm using a Digimaster Mini Pro SC. Another popular interface on the market is the Signalink USB, which many of my colleagues are using. These audio interfaces are responsible for the connectivity between your computer or mobile device and your radio. They also supply a push-to-talk interface and audio streaming between the app that you're using on your mobile device or your laptop and your rig. Now, if you're setting up an Android-only ultra-portable digital kit, then you might want to take a look at this third option, which is called the WSjt-Link. Now, the WSjt-Link is an old friend on the channel, so I'm going to put a link in the description and perhaps an annotation here so that you can see some of the other videos about it. The WSjt-Link doesn't have an internal sound card, but it is lightweight and easy to use on Android devices. Now let's take a quick moment to talk about the connectivity with these devices. If you're using the WSjt-Link, it's going to connect to your Android device through a TRRS connector. That's the connector you need on your device, which has mic and speaker input and outputs for the WSjt-Link. For the Signalink USB or the Mini Pro SC USB, that's a standard USB connection going into your laptop. Now, if you want to use either of those devices with an Android tablet or smartphone, you'll need to get yourself a USB OTG cable adapter to interface with and power up those devices. Moving forward to laptops, tablets, and smartphones. When you're at the planning stages of putting together your ultra-portable digital kit, you're going to have to decide if you're going to use a netbook or laptop, a tablet, or even a smartphone. In these 3 examples, we have a netbook running Ubuntu Linux with FLDigi. We have an Android tablet running Droid PSK and other Android software. And we have a smartphone, also Android, running Droid PSK and other apps. Each one of these has its strengths and weaknesses, but we'll cover those in the next segment. If you've been able to follow along up until this point, and excluding the battery pack and antenna, you should by now have a very good idea of the core components to an ultra-portable digital system. So let's go ahead and move forward, taking a look at laptops, tablets, and smartphones, and the pros and cons of each of those. So let's go ahead and start with the netbook. Undoubtedly, this is the bunker buster of all 3 of our systems. In this netbook variant, we're running an Asus Echo PC running FLDigi on Ubuntu Linux. It's certainly the most capable of our 3 variants, but that capability comes at a price, and the price being weight and energy consumption. Fortunately, this netbook runs off of 12 volts like our FT817, so we're able to use a common power source to power each device. Let's quickly run through the pros and cons of the netbook. So the first pro I have for the netbook or laptop variant is the seemingly endless amount of modes we find in FL Digi. In my opinion, that's the greatest strength of this solution. Now for the first con, I have to tell you the laptop or netbook variant is the heaviest choice of the three. Sticking with the cons for a second, if you need to power this externally, it's extremely power intensive. We're talking about 1.5 to 1.6 amps just idling in worst case scenario. On full power transmit, we're talking about 2.7 to 2.8 amps worst case scenario. Leaving the netbook on the positive side, we'll go back to the pros. The most important aspect of the netbook is its ability to run a large variety of apps. In this example, you see me running FL Digi, FL MSG, and wsjt-x. Moving on to the tablet. Now there certainly is a reason the tablet is center massed between the netbook and the smartphone. It has many of the capabilities of the netbook, but lacks any of the creature comforts. On the upper left, you see our Nexus 9 connected to the Digimaster Mini Pro SC through the USB port via OTG adapter. On the lower left, you see the Wolfie Link connected to the Nexus 9 through its TRRS connector, that's the 4-pole connector. The Wolfie Link and the Digimaster are connected to the FT817 through the data port. Let's have a look at the pros and cons. Starting with the pros, the most obvious of the pros is going to be the weight savings over the netbook. Next, we're looking at current consumption of the tablet. Now, I know there's 1.35 amps current draw here, but that's only when it's charging. On a full battery, without using the internet, the tablet's going to last most of the day. Now, as far as apps and capabilities go, the apps that we have in Android are actually excellent. Unfortunately, we don't have very many of them, so we're going to put this as a pro and a con. We'll be sure to do an in-depth video on Android apps in the near future. Finally, unlike a netbook, there's no keyboard with a tablet, so if you want to use one for that keyboard-to-keyboard chat, you're going to have to add a Bluetooth self-powered one yourself. That could be a pro or a con, depending on your perspective. Now we move on to the smartphone. What you see here is my Samsung Galaxy S4 i9506. Although this is a 3-year-old smartphone, it's got a Snapdragon 800 processor, which will go toe-to-toe with the tablet, in some cases even outperform it. That statement's also true for the netbook. It really is a quad-core powerhouse in your pocket. Let's go ahead and take a look at the pros and cons. If we start with the obvious, the smartphone is obviously the most portable out of all three variants. It's also got an incredibly small screen, making it absolutely a no-go for some operators. Even with some of these deal breakers, I have to remind you that the smartphone has exactly the same capabilities as its tablet brother. When compared to a tablet, I see the only downside it has is its runtime. Now that's perfectly fine if you want to use the Wolfie Link, as it's extremely low power. But if you're planning on powering one of the USB digital interfaces, you're going to be sadly disappointed with the limited runtime. Alright guys, we're going to continue this ultra-portable digital comm series with 3 new videos back to back. In the first video, we're going to be setting up the Micro Pro SC on Android with and FL MSG, Droid PSK, and of course the FT817ND. After that, we'll be setting up FL Digi with the Mini Pro SC running on Ubuntu Linux. Now, I haven't planned further than the fourth video in this series, but that's going to be a man-portable Whisper testing kit. There's already a blog post about that kit up on survivaltechnology.net. I'll put a link in the description so you can check it out. We're almost to the end, guys, but I have a couple of shout-outs for you. First up is Zulu Sierra 6 Bravo November Echo Eddie. Now, he's the guy who's got me into Radar. Radar's rapid deployment amateur radio. If you're into man-portable ops, whether digi or otherwise, check out his blog. And finally, my good friends at Ham Radio 360. They're on social media, Instagram, Twitter. They have a Facebook group. They also have a YouTube channel. If you're not listening to Ham Radio 360, you haven't been paying attention. Alright guys, that brings us to the end of the video. Don't forget to like us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, support us on Patreon, find us on Pinterest, Google+, and of course survivaltechnology.net, where we share lots of news, information, and articles from our channel buddies. Finally, if you've enjoyed this video and you think I deserve it, please give me a thumbs up and share this video with someone who might enjoy it. Alright guys, rock and roll. Thanks for watching.